CTV. Today we're speaking with Loudon County parent Clint Thomas, who is one of 11 parents suing Loudon County Public Schools for, quote, moral corruption of children and violation of Virginian constitutional rights with America First Legal. Clint, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So you're one of 11 parents suing Loudon County schools. What made you and others want to seek legal action?
Public schools, and I'm involved in business, and I've been involved in my community and governance here locally for many years now. And I tell you, I don't think anybody saw this coming back in 2019 when this board was elected. We didn't realize how.
Okay, you might not have seen it coming. You didn't know in 2019, but you know now. And part of what's coming up is what I have a real issue with.
Insidious the equity agenda really was, and it turns out it actually started even before then. And so it really hit us first in the face the very first day of school this past year. When my two daughters were in high school, they were actually asked on the day one to publicly pronounce what their pronouns are going to be this year, both in public.
Okay, that is absolutely ridiculous. I don't even understand the intent of that anyway. Teachers should be calling someone by their name. So, but anyways, that's not a matter of respect. That's a matter of conformity and agenda. Respect would be if someone said, oh, I like to be called whatever, and they said, I like to go by this name instead of my name. I can still even disagree with that, but if that was the idea, then okay, that would be called being respectful of them. But it's not. You're pushing an agenda. You're pushing a mindset of philosophy. But wait, there's more.
Setting that's public as well as some of the classes in writing. And we just shook our head like, no, that's not going to work. That's a clear violation of what 8040 was designed to do. And so we immediately contacted the school, and even the principal admitted that was a violation. And, from there, we've learned even now that Regulation 8040 apparently shuts parents out and denies them knowledge if their child is expressing a different gender in the class.
Okay, again, obviously, absolutely ridiculous. The concept that a school nurse can't even give a kid a Tylenol actually, I don't think they can give a kid Tylenol, period. But in a bunch of different things, they can't do things without a parent's permission, parent's consent, anything else. But your kid can say, I'm going to put on makeup when I get to school and I'm going to be a girl now, and the parents aren't informed. That's absolutely ridiculous. There's plenty of things for them to legitimately be angry about, to legitimately be filing lawsuits about. Okay.
In the schoolhouse. And so we are filing this lawsuit because we tried everything else. And so I represent these 10 other great parents and families. And really there's thousands of parents and teachers and concerned citizens all across Loudon County that we found that are really just, they've had enough. And they're kind of like saying, hand me a brick. Hand me a brick. We're going to rebuild the walls of this
It shouldn't be hand me a brick. We're going to rebuild the walls. But anyway, I'll just leave it at that.
Education of our kids is torn down, and the walls of our schoolhouse have been breached with folks that are race and gender activists and those who want to highly sexualize our kids, dumb down our kids. There's dark money influence, and so we are ready to rebuild the wall and protect our kids and restore parental rights.
I love that.
Absolutely said nothing wrong so far, right? I agree with them. I agree with the parents. I agree with him. Okay.
Now, you already spoke about how on the first day your kids actually had to, they were asked what their pronouns were. Have you personally had to deal with the school system over any other inappropriate matters involving your own children?
Well, different flavors of that, sure. So it was also early on the vax or test mandate that they tried to impose upon our student athlete who was a junior in high school, and that eventually was indefinitely suspended, thankfully. But it was definitely a threatening thing to us as a family because we didn't feel like we needed to do that. And then, of course, the exposure in the various classrooms to books that were hidden from us at back to school night that we had to confront the teacher about and had to make alternative choices for one of our daughters. Some of the classes, our children are even afraid to speak out publicly because of reprisal from their teacher or other classmates if they...
Okay, this is where it begins to be too much, and these caring parents become absolute frauds. Your kid tells you, I am afraid to speak openly in my classes because I'm afraid of reprisal from my teachers and reprisal from other students. And as a parent, your response is, well, go back. Go back to class. Keep going. You keep going to that school. I'm going to file a lawsuit, but you keep going to that school.
Try to stand up for traditional values. And really, when the sex assaults happened here in Loudon County, for a while there, our daughters also were scared to even go to the bathroom alone.
And that's the final thing. The guy has daughters, right? As I said earlier, the one boy dressed as a girl assaulted one girl there, convicted of that, got shipped to another school, assaulted somebody else. Your child comes to you and says, Dad, I am afraid to go to the bathroom in the school I go to by myself. And you turn around and say, well, don't worry, we're suing. Go ahead, go back to class. No, you go back. You just keep going to that school. We're going to file a lawsuit, though. Don't worry. So if your daughter comes home the following week and says, I was just raped in class, you go, well, we're fighting a good fight, so, hey, it's something you're going to have to bear. This is bullshit now. That's when it crosses the line and becomes absolute bullshit. And I'm sick of parents doing this because I'm seeing it nonstop. The parents that are complaining about all this, you have every right to complain. And I'm not saying this should stop. Their lawsuit should absolutely continue. But how the fuck do you send your kids back to that school? Like, how do you send your daughter there when she's afraid to use the restroom? That's when these people become absolute frauds to me. I can agree with all their argument, but don't ever tell me, oh, I'll do anything for my kids. Don't ever tell me, oh, my job is to protect my kids. That's why I'm doing that. And you send your kid back to a school where they were afraid to talk, back to a school where they're afraid to go to the bathroom by themselves. Bullshit. These people are just frauds.
Realize they needed to go with a buddy, and that's just not an environment that any child should have to go through.
But you made her.
Honestly, the most insidious thing that I found is in our advisory blocks, our homeroom classes, they were pushing the trans agenda very hard this Pride Month, and we're not here to...
Wait, that's more insidious? The fact, no, it's horrible, it should not happen, but that's more insidious to you. That's the most insidious thing. Not your daughter saying, I'm afraid to go to the bathroom by myself because girls have been raped in the bathroom by boys who wear skirts. Not that. No, what the most insidious thing is that they're pushing an agenda in homeroom. Okay.
Fight trans theory or any other theory that parents want to teach their children. We're just saying it doesn't belong in the schoolhouse. Teach academics. Leave the non-academics, values-based education to the parents. That's the rights that we have. We are the ultimate educators of our children.
Yeah. Well, I was reading through, the litany of listed policies that AFL is targeting. It's very long. Can you tell us some of them? Because it's everything from, CRT to sex ed to, COVID policies. I mean, it's almost like there's not an area that they didn't touch.
Well, we first and foremost feel like the policy 8040 needs to be turned around, halted.